ठीक है, फिर भी कैमरा ऑन कर रखा है। मैं तुझे स्टडी मटेरियल और भेज रहा हूँ।
Say hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. You all can start your videos. Bharat.
Yes, sir.
I can't see your face.
Here I am, sir.
Yes, the smartest guy, and I can't see your face.
Thank you for the compliment, sir.
So, I mean, just take a quick count. How many people from your team are right now? They are not here. Hi, can you hear me, guys? Just raise your hand. Don't.
Yeah. Now you are listening.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, good afternoon, guys. Let's start. It's a very small, quick refresher thing on the sales part. I'm sure we all are doing the same. We know everything. It's a refresher. So, I think it will help you all, guys. Okay. So, don't treat it as a presentation. It's more like a discussion we will have. Some of the things which I have gained in my career, which I have followed. And in the end, we will have a question session. So 30 minutes more or less for the presentation. Next 15 minutes we will spend on the people who have raised their hand. Let's talk after 30 minutes during the question hour session. So today we will discuss, the sales, which every one of you know. It will be a kind of a revisiting what we know, the sales processes that are there, sales strategies and tactics, and understanding the customer profiles. So any questions at the end of the session? The best relevant question wins an email ebook on sales. Okay, तो come up with the best question and has to be relevant. साथ ही साथ ये भी है कि any worst irrelevant question you have to give me a treat. Okay, so don't ask any irrelevant question. Let's have this discussion very meaningful. ठीक है? If we look at sales, I think ये सबको पता है. Sales, definition of sales, a transaction between the buyer and seller, in which the seller sells intangible or tangible goods, assets or services against money, and it's known as a sale. Now, I think what should be the ideal definition? Is the ideal definition is where there is a kind of an element of help that we are providing to the customer, because a transaction is happening. If the person doesn't feel that I'm gaining something from this, then it will be difficult to continue the relation with them. So sales refers to the exchange of product, commodity, service, or delivery for money. It involves helping prospective clients or customers by listening to them and understanding their wants and needs to find them what they are looking for. So I think what I meant to say, that the ideal definition that comes for sales is how you are helping the person, and by helping the person you are trying to cater to his need, and in return you are getting a sale. Let's look at sales from that perspective. Helping your customers, try to identify them the right course. So before understanding the sales process, as I said, that we will talk about sales processes, strategies, tactics. So I think before understanding the sales process, it's very important to understand the buyer's persona, because unless we have understood the buyer's persona, the behavioral pattern, how can we think of following the right sales process? It might vary, it might be tweaked based on the buyer's persona. So I was just thinking, I mean, different types of buyers, and most of you know, if you try to classify the buyers in terms of their personality types, it can be the analytical, the amiable, the expressive, the drivers. Probably most of you know about it. If you try to classify the buyers in terms of their behavior, a talker, a controller, or a supporter. Same goes with if you try to classify the buyers in terms of their profiles, spontaneous, methodical, humanistic, and competitive. When we look at the buyer, you might come across that a single buyer has all the traits. So if you're talking of the personality type, the person can be a mix of the analytical, the amiable, expressive, and the driver. If you talk of their behavioral pattern, again the 4 parts. Now the key here is to understand is which one is the dominant part, and that will show the real personality type of the buyers. So if the person is more of an analytical part, doesn't mean that he is not amiable or expressive or the driver part, right? The same goes for their behavioral pattern or the profiles. Today in this session, let's talk about the personality types, understand what do we mean by the analytical, and let us also try to understand that if that is so, how do we handle that? Okay. So let's try to understand who are the customers who has the personality of the analytical. The people who possesses this personality, they look for facts and figures in a sales discussion. People with this personality type, they do some advanced research on the business contact prior to the interaction. These analytics, they prefer to have deeper knowledge about the subject. They verify each bit of information and focus more on the brand's features to make sure of its quality and efficiency. These customers use most of the logical thinking rather than their emotional side when it comes to decisions. So, analytical person is more of a data-driven person. They are more of a when you are trying to selling that person, they are more of like, that's fine, you told me this is so, but how do you back it up? So more of validation, trying to establish whatever you have said, that this is what. So that's how they look into it. Now, how to handle this? If you have to handle these kind of personalities, focus on providing the information relevant to what your business can do for them. Use the qualitative as well as statistical data because they are more analytical in nature. That shows exact representation of facts to attract attention and stay interest. I'm sorry, guys, there was some network issue. Just check if they are able to. Hello. I'm sorry. I think I lost the network in between. I apologize. I'm very, very sorry for this. Let me go back to the presentation. Okay. Quickly raise your hand. Hear me? Ankit, you are okay, fine. I'm audible. Okay. So where were we? How to handle these people? Now, the best way to handle this kind of people is to provide the relevant information that they are seeking for, because they are data driven. They are driven by facts and logics. Okay. So focus on providing information relevant to what your business can do for them. Use qualitative and statistical data, okay, to show exact representation of facts to attract attention and stir interest. Since these people are information oriented and have a keen eye for detail, you need to be specific and direct when delivering your pitch. So you falter, you try to give some wrong information, false information, kind of a overhype is not going to work with them. Right? So expect questions and clarifications during the selling process. This indicates that they are interested in knowing your business more. If they're asking you more questions, you can think that you are going in the right direction. This this type of people, if they have stopped asking you questions, then probably you again need to rethink how to make that conversion more meaningful. Be patient with these people, because analytical customers are always slow decision because their decisions are always based on facts and figures. Let's go to the second personality, the amiable. These amiable people are very respectful, sociable, and trustworthy. They are very good in listening to and forming relations with others. Unlike analytical thinkers, amiable people care more about building rapport and establishing trust with other persons. They are more interested in conducting business transactions with people who meet their buying expectations. Okay? Their decision relies on how the company manages to value their interest in relation building. So it's more like how you're treating that person, how the relationship thing is going on. It might take little time, but they value the interpersonal relations between two people or the organization and him. That's how they value for. How to handle this? Address their needs based on answers to increase your chances of closing more sales. Make yourself likable by creating a good impression and recognizing their presence. Asking questions that show your interest adds a personal touch to your pitch. This makes them feel valued, which nurtures their relationship with them. Provide relevant questions that allow them to share their personal experiences about a certain product. Address their needs based on answers to increase your chances of closing more sales. Okay. You can also introduce some of your colleagues who can offer help and assistance in their decision making. So if you look at the solutions to handle this personality, it's more of like how we are building up a relation with this person. The person, if he feels that yes, I'm getting that respect, I can trust this person, so his buying decision will be faster. Third personality is the expressive ones. These people, with the expressive personality, use most of their creative side to voice out their opinions on a particular topic. You start a discussion and you will see that they drag the discussion to some different direction because they are very expressive people. When presented with facts, they would prefer to share their own perspective rather than ask for additional information. I think you guys must have faced this kind of situation in many of the calls. They know how to show respect others as much as they want them to be respected. Okay. Similar to those with an amiable personality, they give importance to relationships. So they are more expressive. Give them that trust. Show them the trust. Show them how if you are building the relation, you will get results. They value the welfare of the people who can be affected by their choices. Unlike analytical and amiable customers, expressive individuals are very fast decision makers. Okay, so the people who are more expressive, you can expect very faster results of closures from them. How to handle them? Try to tell them stories that are relevant to the topic and to each concerned individual. You can also share your experiences to help them better understand what's being discussed. Focus on showing what your business can do for them while concentrating on a possible outcome they may encounter after the purchase. Connect with them and establish a deeper level of relationship by tapping into their emotions. While facts and other data can help, these types of customers set their minds in making and fulfilling decisions that people will love. Okay, this last line again, let me repeat. This is very important to handle this kind of personalities. While facts and other data can help, this type of customers set their minds in making and fulfilling decisions that people will love. The last personality, the driver. So people with this personality are mostly self-centered and opinionated. They find pleasure in manipulating a pitch that identifies them as reasonable and authoritative. Drivers expect all information to be delivered in the quickest way possible because they are goal-oriented. They are commanding in nature and motivated to achieve their objectives. They want immediate answers and solutions. They also value competence as much as they value expertise and preparations. Similar to expressive customers, drivers are very fast decision makers. So if you look at the bias persona for the drivers, very authoritative, right? So they have already a very firm opinion. So obviously, since their opinions are very firm, they will try to close it as fast as possible. Okay, so they will make quick decisions. So how to handle them? Get straight to the point when expounding on when you're making a pitch. Don't build a drama. Don't try to talk in a very very lengthy discussion. Come to the point straight away. That will be liked by him. Be direct without compromising the clarity and quality of your performance. Be very direct with them. Provide facts and evidences to help them easily understand your message and make quick decisions. Because if you don't make quick decision, because that's his type, so he will not like it. Right? So mentioning irrelevant or unnecessary information will only waste both your time and effort. Be careful to give only what's needed in the particular decision. Many times it happens with us that when we are making a call, we keep on talking and talking, and without understanding that that person is really keen to listen to what you're saying. But especially for this kind of personas, I think we must prepare our script well. We talk little, but that should be crisp and clear communication. Whatever information he required needs to be structured and provided in very few sentences, so that he is able to take a fast decision. If you try to drag the conversation for a longer time with this kind of personalities, he might lose interest. Okay, so highlight how your business will enable them to reach their goals and let them stand out from the competition, because the drivers are more like the kind of a authoritative or the controller type of people. Okay, let's talk about the sales processes. Okay, when we talk of the sales process, what is the process? We are doing sales, we are following SOPs, we are making 150 calls in a day, 3 hours of talking times. So that's the sales process. You are doing that. My suggestion is, you structure the entire discussion and the talking point whenever you're talking to a customer. When you are making, say for an example, that we have 10 meaningful calls with the customer where the call duration goes for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Okay. So in this type of calls, it's very important that we structure the entire discussion and the talking points. What we do is, the entire call we divide into few steps. Okay. And very important, be an active listener. Generally what happens is, it's a kind of a mindset which goes that the more I talk, probably I will be able to sell. But I think selling is a science. It's not an art, it's a science. Now, the more you listen to that person, you will understand that person well. When you understand that person well, you will identify the need properly. And when you identify the need properly, you will be able to provide the proper solution. Okay, so all this requires very, very active listening. So the art of listening, they say, is a very, very important trait for a salesperson. The sales steps, I think majority of the people must have read somewhere on this. It's called the aiding step: approach, interview, demonstrate, validate, negotiate, close. Now let me talk a brief on this, each and every step. Approach, it can again be divided into kind of a pre-approach and approach. This step is basically aimed towards creating a ease between the two parties, the buyer and the seller. So before the actual sales call starts, this is the approach that we are taking. We are trying to talk some few things which is not relevant to the product, not relevant to other things. So few of the things like, how are you doing, is it the right time to talk, and etc, etc. Now once that equation is set, that the buyer is ready to listen to your call and you are initiating the discussion, we go to the interview process. Right now, most of the people, I have seen some of the call audits also, I have heard, interview, it's interview step, it's not an interrogation step. So when I talk of interview and not interrogation, that means you have to write the ask questions, write questions, ask questions. Okay, so when you are asking the right questions, you have to see that if it's an open-ended or a closed-ended. So open-ended is something where, based on his answer, you ask the next question. Closed-ended is something where yes or no. So that person says no, and you don't have a scope to, carry forward the discussion. So ask the right questions, and with these right questions, you are trying to understand, you are trying to explore what is his need, which kind of course that person is preferring, why that course, what exactly is his need, is he thinking of the right course, or can you propose a better course which is suited to his or her need. This is very important. So interview process ideally should be 80% of listening and 20%. So one liner question, and let that person talk based on whatever that person has said. Again, a one liner question, and let that person talk. Okay. So this is the interview step. Once you have, in this interview step, you have identified the need. Okay. Now, after you have identified the need, we go to the demonstrate step. This is the stage where you do 80% of talking. So you talk more on this stage. So you start providing the right solution for that person, that based on your understanding, the discussion that I have with you right now, this is what you're looking at. You are looking for a solution which addresses this needs. Okay. So I think I can provide you that solution. And through this, and then you start talking about the course. So here you talk details about the course, the modules, the hours, what that person is going to get from that course, how it can be, everything. You give each and every detailed information during this stage. So 80% of you talk on this. Then we come to the validate part, right? So validation part is more like whatever you have talked about your solution, the course. Now you validate it. So it can be based on some data, some historical data, some data, how the other people are doing after completing the courses, or they might have some queries. Based on that query, you again, you validate, whatever the query, the replies that you are giving for that query. Once this stage is done, then you go to the negotiation stage. Please don't get confused that negotiation means you are talking about the price and negotiating on the price. There is no negotiation on the price part, right? Negotiation price is the person comes up with some queries and says that probably I will need this, I will need that also. So apart from the course, how that course is going to benefit, that is the negotiation. When the transaction is going on, that negotiation not necessarily has to be monetary wise also. There can be many other things that can be done as a part of negotiation. Okay. Once we have done this, then we go to the closure part. So I will always suggest, before we go to the closure part, I think we should always go for a trial closure. Trial closure is something like, you think that I think I have completed the steps and I am getting very positive vibe. This person is going to get enrolled for the course. Now, let me see that, I'm right or wrong. So if that is the true, then I just ask a small question that, sir or madam, do you think, I should send you the detailed information how to get registered for the course, how much registration amount, booking amount you will be paying. Suppose that person says yes, then you go for the closure stroke. So this was a trial closure. Suppose that person says no, let me think on this. That means you have to again go back to the either interview part, or the demonstrate part, or the validation part, or the negotiation part. The steps are not complete. So trial closure will give you a guide that should I revisit the previous steps, or should I go for the closure. So this sales process is called AIDINC. I think most of you know it. Very easy to remember. AIDINC. Approach, interview, demonstrate, validate, negotiate, close. Let's talk about the how do we strategize our sales. Okay. this is, had I been in your place, this is I would have done, and I'm sure you guys must be doing it. Plan the working day and break it down into sub days. So you have, say, 9 hours of work hours, or 10 hours of work hours, or 8 hours, whatever it is. You plan the entire day beforehand. I mean, when you're coming to office 9:45, you are starting, you have meetings, then you have to make calls. So you start the plan from 9:45 to 6:15. You make the entire plan beforehand, that this is what I'm going to do today. Okay. You break the entire 9:45 to 6:15 into sub days. So I will be doing now from 9:45 to 12. This is what I will do. 12. This is what I will. That's how you break it down. Once you have broken it down, then you allocate, you ensure that the some time is allocated for, building or nurturing or tapping matured stage ones and closure of pipelines. So every day when you have broken down the entire day, you have planned for it, just ensure that you are doing all these things. I mean, you have, say, 20 pipeline, 20 opportunities in your pipeline. It should be a mix of all. It cannot be that today the entire day I will only focus on the closure. Then what is happening on the fresh lead part? What is happening on the building of the lead part? If you do that, then today it might give you a good result, but what I mean, after a few days, your sale will go down because you have not built the. So this should be a everyday routine. I mean, the strategy part, I think the best strategy is to make 150 calls. You have to ensure that you complete 150 calls in a day, 3 hours of calling, and 8 genuine negotiations. Let me talk 2 minutes on the genuine part. Why I am saying genuine negotiations. Generally, what happens is, when we mark the stage that anybody completing 15 minutes or 20 minutes of call and negotiation done, they mark it as negotiation done. But I think it is more important to understand that when we are talking of negotiation done, is that person really going to buy that course or not? Do I get a sense? 15 minutes या 20 मिनट्स बात, सपोज वो एक्सप्रेसिव है तो बहुत ज्यादा बात कर लेगा, आपका 15 मिनट तो वहीं चले गया, 15 मिनट्स गॉन, and you will feel that very good, I had a lengthy discussion. But are you sure that person is going to? Negotiation is more like, if you go back to the last slide where we were talking about the negotiation stage. So think that if I have come to that level where I have, completed all the steps, I have come to the price part, and during the price part he had some objections on, say, booking, how do we do the booking part or the registration part or something, and you have addressed it, and then he's trying to think on this, that let me get back to you after 7 days or 10 days or tomorrow. So that's a negotiation, and in CRM that should be counted as negotiation. How does it help you? It helps you to know that out of all the cases, how many are, I put some efforts in that and I will be able to close it faster. So it will help you in planning the working day also. The best strategy: complete your daily SOPs. The revenue will follow automatically. So 3 hours of calling, 8 genuine negotiations, 150 calls, the revenue will follow automatically. That's the best strategy. I will always request, keep a data of matured pipeline. One should always know if they have 5 or 10 or 50 or 20 opportunities from which this month's revenue will come. So any point of time, suppose I meet you on the floor, you meet your immediate supervisor on the floor, you should be able to address that. Is this month, how many opportunities are there in my pipeline which can give me closures, and what's the size of the opportunity, what's the revenue that can come from it. Also, the best, we have talked this many times, the first 15 days are the most crucial days of monthly sales. If you start well, there is a, I mean, you correlate this with a one day match. There was a time, when the openers used to come in one day match, and the first 15-20 overs, they used to take time to stabilize and then build the innings. And the result was the Indian team or the other teams, their highest score would have been 200 or 225, something like that. Then one World Cup, I remember, it was in Australia. New Zealand team changed the entire strategy. What they did was they were the team who started with the concept that first 15 overs, let me target 120 or 150 runs. If I lose 2 or 3 wickets, 4 wickets, not a problem. Okay, let me target 120 to 150 runs in first 15 overs, which was that was the first power play that time. The result was, the number of runs, started getting for a 50-over match, it was more. Nowadays, if you look at the team, it's a common strategy for most of the teams. And if you look at the teams nowadays, the team which is batting first, 300 रन तो पहुंच ही जाता है 50 ओवर्स में. आई थिंक ये जो फर्स्ट 15 ओवर्स वाला जो है ना, इट प्लेड अ वेरी वाइटल थिंग. So for us, the best strategy again, first 15 days, try to have a big and good pickup. Some sales tactics. Many people have talked about strategies and they work very, very strong tactics and smart tactics. But what I think is, the best tactics for sales is, follow the basics. Do the basics correctly. If you do the basics correctly, there are no alternate to SOPs. You do it correctly, the revenue will follow. The revenue will come automatically. The best sales tactics that I have seen, I have also undergone, is doing the basics right. Questions? Is it there? You can put the questions in the chat. Can't see the chat. Can you help me? Okay. So any questions? If any question, please write it in the chat. I can respond. No questions. I'm such a good trainer. I was not aware. No questions. Okay. So nobody gets the prize. There is a prize for the best relevant question. ठीक है. I think lunch time थोड़ा सा भारी पड़ गया. Oh, there is a very good. कोई question आया है? What to do, sir, when customer is interested to buy the course, but after 2-3 days he or she start to ignore the calls? See, I think good question. फर्स्ट इसमें जो आपने ट्रायल क्लोज किया था, ओके, वो was it correct? Because that time the person decided that I will buy the course. And ट्रायल क्लोज में कितना अंडरस्टैंडिंग हुआ है कि आई हैव अंडरस्टूड दैट पर्सन कि वो खरीद रहा है. तो there can be 2-3 scenarios here. One is I have not understood the entire scenario in properly, that the person wants to buy the course. मुझे लगा खरीदेगा, but actually नहीं खरीद रहा है. सेकेंड ये सिनेरियो होता है कि उसको कुछ जेन्युइन कुछ there some issues have come up for which the person is not buying. और थर्ड इज the person has found some alternate ways of to your products and services. So in all the scenario, so there can be scenario which is not in your control, but the scenarios where it is in your control, I think you need to revisit the entire sales steps. Try to understand how we can identify analytical. So should I whose question is this? Huh? Whose question? Vishnu. So Vishnu, I was looking at the question. You want me to go back to that slide so that I can again? Many questions. Then let me pick and choose which questions should take place, because otherwise it will go on and on. I'm not ready to listen and just asking for the brochure. So how should we proceed further? How to differentiate whether person. Let's do one thing. I have understood the questions. I think all the questions are good questions and relevant questions. It will be difficult for me to cover all the questions even in next half an hour, because the reason is I have not explained to you the entire sales steps. If you understand the entire sales steps, these questions will be. So let me do this in a different way. I will tell you about the entire sales steps. You let me give you a surprise. The surprise is everybody gets a ebook on sales. Okay. Shipra ma'am will be sending you the link for the ebook. Download it. I have gone through this book around 20 years back. I still remember each and every step. It has helped me in my career to be a good salesman. Most of the questions that has been asked is related to the sales step, identifying the correct persona, and when that persona is understood, the correct solution that is provided, and are we following the steps. Please go through the book, do some practice. We will meet again after some days, and we will have a separate session only on the steps. It's important you understand the sales steps. AID Inc. AIDINC. You go through that, study on that. There will be no test whatever you study on that book. Okay, but let me see after reading the entire book how many questions you ask, and if those questions are already not answered in the book. Okay, most of the questions are similar and it will take long. I mean, I first to answer that I have to explain the entire sales process. That will take, पूरा बुक अगर मैं उसको कॉन्साइज करके भी करता हूँ तो 45 मिनट्स टू 1 आवर लग जाएगा. We will take it in a separate session. First read the book, then again शिप्रा मैम एक सिर्फ ना ये सेल्स स्टेप्स के ऊपर एक सेशन करते हैं आफ्टर 15 days, 15-20 days. ठीक है. Okay guys, I think we are at 2 o'clock. Enjoy your lunch. Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Same to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.